Alright, so this is 490 number 2. This is the one that I got off of the guy in southern New Hampshire on the way home. Got it for $40 and just put new fuel lines on it, cleaned up the carb a little bit, put it all back together, and she runs. It's weeping oil. I haven't figured out yet if it's weeping from the case or if it's just out of the oiler. I don't know, but got it to run. I think I got it tuned up pretty good. In free revving, it's just barely burbling, and so whenever I put it in the wood, it should clean up nicely. We'll see. Same bar and chain that I had on the other 490, and we're just going by feel and seeing what I think of this one. Uh-oh. Hear that slight burble? Hey! That feels very good. That feels much more like what I was expecting out of a 490. That runs really good and strong. I'm gonna go grab something else so that we can just do an informal little test against it. This is my Redmax G5300. Seeing how this was designed, about 25 years later than the 490, I think this is a good comparison. I think the 346 XP, my Jonsered 2153, is a little bit unfair, but we'll see. Yeah, this is definitely stronger. Feels like it's turning a lot more RPMs as well. And this has a semi-chisel chain. The other one has a full chisel. So I would definitely think that this thing wins out, but the way that the 490 feels is more the way that I expected a 490 to feel. The other one, clearly down on power from that one. I couldn't put much pressure on it at all. So more in the garage. Before we get to the garage footage, I'm sitting here grilling chicken in my $15 grill. And I am blown away by that Jonsered. I had no idea it beat the Red Max, which is a Husky 353. Very good saw. It beat it in every single pull. Now, I don't know how much I'm going to talk about it. I am literally in the process of editing this video, so I don't know what I'm going to say about the chains, but clearly the nice full chisel chain gave the Jonsered a heads up, you know, or a leg up, I should say, on the competition. And that's why the Red Max felt like I could pull it harder. The rakers are probably too high, and it's just not as an aggressive chain. I keep that chain on there because that's kind of, it's just a beater saw, and I just use it for all kinds of stuff. So, point is I can't wait to do a proper showdown between those two saws, because damn, that thing's 43 years old. The design, you know, it's amazing. It's amazing that it can in any way keep up. So, on with the video. Hello and welcome back to the Novice Lumberjack, where that is more like it. The other 490, the one that I got from you, Ryan, there's something a little off with it. I definitely think that the piston and cylinder are good. It might need new rings, but honestly, the compression didn't feel low on it. Really poppy. Something's going on though, but I think that it's clearly a state of tune. The state of tune in my book could reference the carburetor, as far as you know, maybe I don't have the carburetor tuned right, or it could be the exhaust, the muffler might be clogged on it. I don't know, but it definitely did not have the torque that this one has. It had RPMs for days, but as soon as I wanted to pull on it, it got boggy. This one, however, feels much more like I expected. It doesn't feel great. I mean, yeah, back in 1983, I think, whenever one of these things were made or something like that, yeah, it was probably like, whoa, poof, and all that jazz. But now, it feels the way a good 50cc saw should feel. And that's it. Nothing more to it than that. But because it's a closed port cylinder setup, and it's less than 50 cc's, it just lended itself well to racers to modify heavily. And I think that's the magic that's going on with this. And you know, I mean, the 3 cube class at the races that I was just at in Jackson, Alabama, there was one person, I think, that had a 50cc steel chainsaw. Not sure what it was. I think maybe it was an 025 or something. But totally, I'm not sure what it was. But everybody else almost exclusively had an old school Husky 50 or 51, and they were running this cylinder, I believe. Please, if you guys have started following my channel, throw it in there, what you got. I know Grant was running a 346, and he was running a new edition 346. So that means it was slightly above 50cc, but they were okay with that. You know, I think the new edition 346 XPs were 50.2, 51 cc's, something like that. But anyways, not important. The important thing is, yeah, this feels like a good solid saw. And the other 490 has got something going on. Now, it very well could be this. This is the sprocket that came off of this saw. This saw was running a 7-pin 3/8 sprocket. So it was set up to run 3/8 chain. And that's a lot. You're asking a lot from a 50cc saw running 3/8 chain, period. But a 7-pin setup, you know, I mean, do they even make a 6-pin setup for 3/8 chain? I don't know. Typically, 325 runs a 7-pin setup, and a 7-pin 325 is significantly smaller than a 7-pin 3/8. Basically, an 8-pin 325 sprocket is almost identical in size to a 7-pin 3/8. So these things, if they're set up to run 325, they should be running 7-pin or 7-tooth, right? But it was as if this thing was set up to run 8-tooth. And it being all stock, it shouldn't have been. And so maybe the 490 that I got from you, Ryan, maybe that's set up with an 8-pin, because clearly they liked their big sprockets back then. My son's chainsaw, the Jonsered 525, it had an 8-pin 325 sprocket. And I know I'm throwing a lot of numbers at you, but it had an oversized 325 sprocket. Now, one saw that was definitely not known for its abundant power was the Jonsered 525. It was just a farm saw, is all that was. No one ever saw that as a high-performance saw. Maybe a good saw, but not a high-performance saw. And so the fact that it had an 8-tooth 325 sprocket on it, it just, bing, it throws something off. Maybe, possibly, back in the day, it was a regular thing. So I'll have to check on that 490 that I got from you, Ryan, to see how many teeth the sprocket has on it. Because it could be just as simple as that. They're running just too big of a sprocket on it, and that's where it has lost its torque. But clearly this thing has a lot more torque. At this point, I have not watched the video to see which one performs better, be it this or the Red Max 5300. If you guys don't know, the Red Max 5300 is nothing more than a Husqvarna 353, right? Or a Jonsered 2152, right? It's just like a 346 XP new edition, except for it has an open port cylinder. That's really the only difference. So a good solid work saw, great saw for around the ranch. I mean, it's a really good saw. And as you saw, I'm sure, it has good power. It's a really good saw. If you have something like that out there, if you have a Red Max 5300, a Husqvarna 350 or 353, a Jonsered 2152, and you're thinking about upgrading to the 346 XP cylinder, it's only worth it if your current cylinder is bad. The difference between my Red Max 5300, which again is a 353 Husqvarna, lots of numbers here, it's crazy. The difference between that and a 346 XP, both of them in stock form, is really minimal. Really, really, really minimal. In a 14-second cut for the 5300 or the 353, well, the 346 will get through it in 13 seconds. And you're going to tear a saw apart for that. And I got to say, I think that the 353 probably has more torque, more bottom end, than the 346 XP does. I mean, the 346 is great, but where it shines is when people modify it and really do it well. Like Cajun, I know that you've got some really kick butt you've got an old school, old edition 346 XP that pulls better than most 55, possibly even 60cc saws. So they modify really well. And so that would be a reason, if you were wanting to modify it, that'd be a reason to go with the 346 cylinder versus the 353 cylinder. Anyways, lots of numbers. I'm rambling. I like this saw, and I definitely will look further into my other 490 and see what's going on with it. It's probably something extremely simple. Oh, another thing that's nifty is this one. I don't know how much y'all paid attention, probably not much, but there's a spring right here on the handle, and I was like, what's going on with that? Well, it turns out this thing has heated handles. I think they work too. I noticed that this one was warm, not hot, just simply warm. It's oddly enough, they're hooked up here onto the cylinder. I do not know how this stuff works. Or no, it's not hooked to the cylinder, it's hooked to the muffler. It makes me think that maybe it's just capturing heat from the muffler and piping it back, but it's definitely a rubber hose here. Yeah, there feels like there's nothing even in that rubber hose. I bet you it's just simply exhaust fumes that is getting passed through the handles. But I don't know, but it's got it through this handle right here, as well as this one, and it looks, it's uninterrupted, like not broken or anything like that, so yeah, it's got heated handles. Don't need them in Atlanta, Georgia, but you know, it's neat that it's got them. And this is, yeah, this is more of what I expected one of these saws to feel like. So I'm glad I got two. And I still haven't even touched the Partner. I haven't even tried to get it started. The Partner 5000 Plus. Maybe it'll outshine them all. I don't know. Shouldn't though, should be exactly the same. Anyways, all right, that's enough of that. I've rambled enough. Oh, if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed yet, please, for the love of God, subscribe. I need to get to 1,000. My goal is to get to 1,000 subscribers before the new year, before 2022. And that's just a personal goal. But if you've watched this much of this video, obviously you like hearing me ramble, so subscribe. That's a very easy way and non-obtrusive way for you to support the channel so that I keep on making content. Somebody, Muggsy, you're like, this guy's a content machine. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right. Anyways, I'm out.